What's good, everybody? What is good? What is going on? Of course, welcome to another episode of Opinionated with yours truly. I am Resla. I hope you guys are having a good weekend so far. This was a really tough week when it came to social media. At least for me, I don't follow all the biggest trends. I don't get all the biggest notifications. So I kind of just run up on what I do see and what I think is prevalent, and then the other annoying things that we just kind of have to get out of the way. So there's no particular set thing that I really want to hone in on, but I do want to talk about some of the things that has been taking place when it comes to media. Let me just adjust this just a smidget. But before we even get started on all that, you already know the routine. I want to be able to show some support to the people who actually showed up here early today. So, of course, thank you very much for Trash Media Group for actually showing up. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Will, thanks for showing up. Anybody who does not know, be sure to go to the Cellulite podcast. My man is doing something almost every damn day, pretty much every damn day, multiple times a day. So he's always got some great segments going on. I got to do better at keeping up because I have just been so busy with regular life, but I need to get my daily dose of the Cellulite podcast. Yvette, of course, the lovely Yvette. Thank you for showing up. Look. Late, but still arriving, of course, is CCD. Thank you for showing up, CCD. Uh, and pretty much I want to cover some of the basic things. I've been having a very long stream of late, at least to me, because this is just all rather new to me. But I always wanted to make sure that I catch up on a couple of things just going on in media and some things going on in my own personal life. But wait, what did you say? Say you rolling smoke with OG? Never choking, never choke, never choke. We can't say that about OG. Sometimes he be getting that good stuff. He do be choking, all right. He does. So he might be a little better at that than he is. So I just want to let you know that right now. OG's he's saying that he's hitting the herb a little stronger than you are. I'm just saying. Just saying. Yep, exactly. CCD, he's strong. He's too strong. All right, so like I said, there weren't that many things for me in the news that was necessarily prevalent or even things that were really good. Yeah, in my aspect, I was do this week seemed to be really focused on uh, really going through a lot of the arguments on social media about, I don't know if it's just the last bit of the wave or whatever, but a lot of it is based on women basically still trashing men over the internet, men still trying to prove that women are not as smart as they are on the internet. And then for some reason, hopefully will be the last fizzle out of this whole Diddy thing. I never like hearing about him at all. But the most recent thing has been about Camron for whatever reason. Some of you guys might actually be fans of Cameron, so maybe you're interested in the whole his show with Drink Champs, or even the other podcast that he does with Mace, which I didn't even know they were doing a podcast. To be honest with you, again, I don't really follow people in hip hop; it's not really my thing. But for a lot of people, they thought it was a very big thing, and I'm like, you know what I mean, follow the people that you consider to be your favorites. It's all good. Not necessarily any of mine, just because I got to think about following other people. That's just me. Got a bit of a loner mentality. But that is some of the things that's been happening in the media. So let's just try to knock out some of that stuff real quick. And the most recent thing, which you can look at it disrespect on each part, you know what? I can show you a bit that I could tell you. Well, you probably have already seen this. So let's just get into it. And in this one here, let's just change it up a little bit. For some reason, Cameron was actually put up on CNN News. Can't say the reason why, but he was asked his particular take when it comes to the recent escapades when it came to Diddy, in regards to him going fighting his ex, apparently Cassie. So let's hear a little bit about that.
Thanks for being here. First, when you saw that video of Diddy, Cassie in that hotel, did you recognize that Sean Combs?
What I want to say, first of all, when I seen the video, everything in the video was egregious. I'm against. I don't support all the charges that's alleged against him. I don't support any of that trafficking, minors, domestic violence. I'm totally against it. So when I seen the video, yeah, I was kind of upset with it. Being that I know him, he's not necessarily a friend, but yeah, I was upset when I seen it. But
Did you
as far as
recognize
everything
him?
I just said,
Did you recognize
I
that kind of
wasn't.
anger at all?
Okay, so she's already leading towards something that really doesn't have much validity in my sense. Because to be honest with you, this is not the first celebrity that we've ever seen doing some egregious shit. Can we just all say that as adults and as people that's in the media, we can actually just say that as well? This is not the first time we've ever seen people do shit in terms of domestic violence. When you go think about the people who leave messages on the phone saying that I will sue you or I'll F you up or whatever. This is my point being is that we're not new to people who are in the limelight saying or doing things that not for nothing normal people do, normies. So for her to ask this man that, hey, is this something that you've seen before? Have you known before? What answer would he possibly give, Camron? What answer could he possibly give to be a favorable one? The question itself is already misleading because if he says, well, yeah, I've noticed him to be this way. Okay, cool. You threw some extra shit on Diddy's name. Cool. No problem, which is probably what she's aiming for if she's expecting him to say yes. But if he says no, what are the chances that she's going to still pressure him to say, you really? All this time you've been working with him and you've never actually known that? Keep in mind, I found out after seeing this that Camron does an actual podcast with Mace. Wouldn't it have been better? Wouldn't it have behooved you, young lady, to bring Mace on to do this interview rather than Camron? That's just a thought. I would have rather reached out to Mace, you know, the ones who they did several freaking videos together, several tracks with. Come on now. Look at her. Look at the sister. You know she was out there singing too. Bad, 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 bad boy. You know she was out there singing that too. Why didn't you reach out to Mace? He all cleaned up and for Jesus now. Why didn't you reach out to him rather than Camron? I'm just wondering.
All from your
I don't know him like
experiences?
that. What do you mean? Do I be recognized? Did I recognize him? I seen him. What do you mean my experiences? I seen him and I thought it was disgusting. I didn't do a zoom in to see if it was really him or nothing, but he admitted it was him. So yeah, it was him.
What did you think about the apology that he gave in that other video?
Ain't me for this. The apology ain't for me to decide for Cassie. What I.
And he's absolutely right. So this is another thing that we have to do as individuals, because we do this a lot in media. We do this a lot in trying to persuade other people to have a particular narrative. Obviously, the narrative for this young woman is to paint Diddy in a particular light, which of course is going to be nothing but negative, nothing close to being a positive. She's not even trying to shoot for a bit of balance. She's just trying to see how many names that she can get into her hat to throw daggers at this man. Now, keep in mind, I'm not saying I fucking am defending him. Again, I really don't give a shit about these people in media, especially in the music industry. That's just not my thing. Talking about rap battles and what I don't give two fucks. I honestly could not. So the idea, the aspect of all things, for her to push somebody else who really doesn't have anything to do with this man, he said the exact right thing to say. It is not for me to care. Could I just want to cut him off based on how he acts? Absolutely. Or maybe I still fucks with him. Maybe I still do that. But it's not for me to forgive what he did. He didn't do it to me. He did it to Cassie. It is up for her to forgive. And I absolutely applaud him for saying that. So immediately she gets an F. She gets an F on her questioning. She gets an F on grading. She gets an F, period.
I think about it, don't matter. He ain't do nothing to me. Cassie need to ask Cassie if she accept the apology. I told you how I feel. I said what I said.
I want to play a conversation that you had on your podcast back in September with Mace. Listen.
Yeah.
When you had your record deal, why did you take me to Biggie Smalls and not Bad Boy?
Man, it's almost gonna bring me to tears to say this. I just, being that I saw you as such a good friend, I wanted to put you with somebody I knew with.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. A lot of people ask me that on Instagram, man. Don't have me that's why I here crying and shit, man. I don't want to get emotional in here, man.
Instantly, I knew Biggie would do right by you.
How many of us think that when she turned around and wanted to pull up that clip, right, because Mace wanted to do a solid for someone that he knew, right, that immediately for her pulling that up, because keep in mind, there's probably plenty of other interviews, but plenty of other times that they spoke about people in the industry, including Puff, including Big, probably mentioned Tupac or whoever else is out in the industry. But she went to a specific thing. Keep in mind, Mace never said, the reason why I didn't set you up with Puff because Puff ain't shit. He never said it. He said, I just think that basically Big would have done you right. And there could have been a whole merit or reason for that. For one, maybe he think Big would have did him right as someone who is an artist talking to someone else as a fellow artist. Because say what you want. I know we like to say Diddy did albums. He's not an artist. He's a producer. And producers seem to run a different kind of way than people who are actual artists. The same way how you could talk about Diddy is the same way how you could talk about Dame Dash. People talk about these guys differently than they do to the people who actually write the music, do the rhymes, do the tours. Diddy's one of the only really producers, I would say, outside of like Timbaland. I guess you could say that because I really don't follow people. So you probably know more people than I do, who really have not only produced but written their own albums, and actually the shit got big. So the idea she will pull up this interview for Mace, who did not say anything wrong about Diddy. I just want to put that out there. So he covered his ass. Not to say that he said anything wrong, not to say he was covering for Puff. But again, someone who knows him much more than Camron would. Why didn't you pull Mace? Since you went to their podcast, the same way how you reached out to Camron, you could have reached out to Mace, and Mace would have been the person who can really give you more info than Camron did. You didn't do your due diligence, madam. You did not. You failed.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I mean, is there something known in the industry about how did
So you said people get confused over empathy and sympathy. That might be something. But at the same time, their sympathy means nothing compared to the victim, right? Uh-oh, I can already go. All right, so it's in my head. Why did wrestlers do an air quote for the term victim? Because quite frankly, I think there's always two sides. There's two sides. There's actually two sides of the coin, but there's actually three. Because no one ever counts the rim in the middle of the coin. No one ever counts that at all. If you ever pick up your coin, you pick up a quarter, pick up a dime, pick up a nickel, pick up a penny. There's three sides to it. There's always three smooth surfaces. Oh, one little rigid, depending on what coin you have. But there's typically three surfaces. And that thin little surface, that thin rigid surface, that thin little block between two sides of the face is where you're gonna get a lot of your truth. It's where you're gonna get a lot of the truth. It's where the things actually count. And now we want to look at Cassie and what she said. Again, her side of the story. We want to look at Diddy and what he said. Again, his side of the story. Then we can see the video. But for all we know, there could be videos or countless other things that Cassie has done to him. We really don't know. We can only go off what we see. But the idea is that instead of just being non-biased media as this young lady should be doing, and just saying, based on your personal relationship with Diddy, if he has a personal relationship with Diddy, why don't you tell me a little bit what he act, the way he's been seen in the media? Do you think, you, Camron, do you believe that basically this is something that was always bound to happen? That's it. Are you surprised that something like this is actually happening? That's all you, and then let him lay the groundwork for you. That's all. Let him lay the groundwork. Not you trying to show shit to sway his opinion in real time when he's telling you, number one, why are you asking about him? Number two, I don't give a hell about this man. He was already giving you all his icks ahead of time, and you wasn't reading the room. Again, it's a journalist, it's an anchor, or whatever. He failed.
Diddy treated his artists.
So I'm going to get some cheeks after this horsepower joint.
Okay, that was absolutely TMI. We don't care. We didn't need to hear that. I'd never for one day ever want to care about, or think about Camron getting cheeks. Ever. You can keep that shit to the grave. Just saying, my bro.
I'm just going off what Mace said. Mace took me to Biggie. I don't really know Puffers like Mace know Puff. So I appreciate what Mace said. And of course, that's my brother. So if he felt that way, then he felt that way. I can't really tell you how Puff moves or anything like that. Mace may know better than me because he was signed to Puff. I wasn't. But my show does come on at 8 a.m. Eastern on YouTube. It's called It Is What It Is. And y'all make sure y'all check it out. I mean, I might get some more information out of Mace from there. But for me to tell you how Puff act and all that, I don't know. I never was signed to him.
Yeah. What about the industry in general? I mean, so many people have pointed out that Diddy couldn't get away with this stuff if there weren't a lot of people protecting him.
Ma'am, you're screwing up in real time. Obviously, you don't have good communication skills. I don't know who wrote the script for you, because if you were writing the script yourself, there's no way in hell you should have thought that. These are some great ass questions. I'm going to get him. He going to answer everything. You screwed up. You're speaking to a man who was also part of the industry himself, which means that there are things in the industries that he is willing to protect, because quite frankly, he might have some names that he knows. Why would he ever tell you anything negative about the industry? Listen, if I am let's just say I am a sibling somewhere bloodline of the freaking Kennedy family, do you think I'm going to say anything negative about the Kennedy family? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm going to let the news affiliates say it. I'm going to let people in the media say it. I'm going to let whatever paparazzi want to come up and whatever say anything, but you will not hear me turncoat against the very people, the very foundation, the very industries, of people who have been supporting the reason why I'm even in the limelight as it is. I didn't say I would. No. We're gonna tell the truth. We're gonna tell the truth about that. But we're gonna get to that one. Now I gotta pin you, because CCD out here lying. He lying. You late. Listen, OG, welcome. You're a little late. I'm not gonna have CCD out here lying on me. We not. I'll fix this. I will make sure this is clear. All right. We gonna make sure this is clear. We not gonna have that. Let me just say this much, OG. Let me just say this much. This is what CCD was talking about. How he was making a challenge. Need I say more? I just want to highlight that for a moment. Yeah, you dug your own grave, CCD. You dug your own grave. We gonna get to that. We gonna get to that. But this young lady already screwed up. Why would you think that someone who's already in the industry would turn around and turn his back on the industry when technically he's still making money from being in the industry? She's not doing a good job for herself.
Do you think that's the case?
Who the talent agent for this joint? Like, you think I'll be sitting around watching what Diddy doing all this? I didn't know this was a Diddy joint y'all invited me to. Who booked me for this joint?
All right.
Wow, and I don't be sitting around watching Diddy and all that. Yeah,
thanks.
Man, come on, man.
Thanks for joining us. Thank you for your time tonight.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. You enjoy.
So, next part of evidence that she screwed up on, right? What was the next part of evidence she screwed up? You brought a guest on to your platform, madam, to your particular segment, because it's not really your show. I don't know who the hell this woman is. Maybe she's the next Don Lemon. Who the fuck knows? But you brought this man on and you didn't even tell him what he was going to be on for. He's thinking he about to promote his own shit, and instead you bring him up for Diddy. So who's misleading? Who is misleading? It's not him. He's not playing ignorant. He's like, yo, why am I up here if this all you want to do is talk about Diddy? I got my own shit going on. I'm not focusing on that, man. And I wholeheartedly agree. And this is what we look for in the journalism game. This is what we look for to see it's important. Why is CNN even covering this? Of all the things that you could be covering, this is something that you want to be covering? Aren't you guys still focused on like Gaza or something? Like, why are you talking about Diddy? Why is that important to you? Hey, look, and let's just do this too, because I'm about to go here. Of all the news anchors that could have covered Diddy, did it have to be the black woman? Let that sit in for a moment. Did it have to be the black woman that talked about Diddy? They couldn't get a news anchor that was a white guy or a white woman to talk about Diddy? You're just saying that Camron wouldn't have had to sit down with one of them? It had to be the black woman? Plot twist? I think so. Well, moving on from that, let me just cover some of these lies that CCD is out there putting in the chat. First of all, I'm going to say the way I said it, OG. CCD talking about he out there rolling and basically smoking with you. And I was like, okay, cool. But he said he ain't coughing. And OG, now I love you, man. But we have caught you on stream when you got that good shit and you do give up a good cough or two. And CCD basically said he would hold it down. He wouldn't cough at all. He said he never flinches. He never surrenders. He never chokes. So he was saying he a better smoker than you are. I'm just telling you what he said. Sir, it is documented in the chat. Lie on me if you like, CCD. Come on, bring your evidence. Tell me I'm wrong. He said he's better at burning bushes than you are. God damn it. That's what he said. He said he's better at holding it down. He said he got the chimney and you not ready for it, OG. Then he gonna turn around and say, oh, I'm issuing a challenge. No, he challenged you. He challenged you to a smoke off. That's what he did. He said, OG, he was basically saying, you not ready. He's a chimney compared to you. He said, CCD basically just said, you nothing, OG. He smoked with Snoop. He been in this rap game. He said he been in this. He said you new to it. He said he's an expert. That's basically what he was doing. And I think it's messed up. I'm like, why would you do that to OG? He never done anything to you. Why you pick that fight with him? My man just out here doing his thing. Why you pick that fight with him, TCD? Nah, man, nah. Don't be laughing now. I caught you. I caught you in it. He said he was all in. He said, you not ready for it, OG. He said, I smoke with Snoop. Da-da-da-da-da. He said he got you. And I'm like, that's messed up. Nah, he gonna wait till when you show up in the chat, he gonna start lying. Don't you do that. Don't do that. Listen. He said he don't listen. He said his lungs are strong. He never falters. He never wavers, sir. He literally pointed you out. He didn't just say he smokes. He said, I roll with OG, but I don't cough. Never. Don't let me pull up the comment. Don't let me pull up the comment. I'm just saying. You know what? Nah, I'm gonna be petty. Here's the comment, OG. What's that one? I never choke. Blaze it. So you can have a conversation with CCD. He was out there talking all that shit, sir. All right? Let me put it out there. Don't run up in here and then all of a sudden he started talking about, well, Resla was saying. No, Resla was not saying. Just saying. CCD just said his game is stronger. And I'm just like, that's messed up. OG didn't even ask for it. In fact, OG wasn't even here to defend himself. I'm just saying. Don't do that to him. Don't do that to him. That's all. That's all. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell those who were there, who was here when the shit was flying down, before OG decided to open the door and walk in, tell me that was not something that was taking place. All right? CCD was out there talking all that shit. It wasn't right. It was not right. He was out there talking mad shit, and then OG walked in the door. He was like, oh, hey, OG. Oh, hey. No, we wasn't talking about you. But Resla didn't do that. Don't be lying on me. Don't be lying on me, CCD. All right? We got records in here. We got records. You are on the record, sir. Just own up to it. Just say it right now. Say it proud. I could outsmoke you, OG. Just say it, all right? God damn it. Look. Thank you, baby girl. Thank you. God damn it. We're not doing this. Talking big game. Just say a lot. Listen, I might try to challenge OD to a drink, but smoke off, I'm never gonna challenge OD to smoke off. Especially when he's smoking things like gas. Nigga, gas means fire. I'm never gonna be smoking anything that's gonna blow up in my face. Gas. I don't care if that's just the name of it. I'm not smoking anything called gas. What's next? Propane? Ethanol? I'm not smoking anything with these kind of words like combustion attached to them. It's not happening. I'm just not gonna do it. Because it sounds lethal. And CCD was just like, he got it. He said, OG smoking weed. He said, he smokes fuel cells. He said, too strong. I'm just saying. Don't get quiet, CCD. Come on now. Come to the front of the congregation. Throw your hands up. Admit it. Look, he's too strong. Look at this. I'm just saying. You're not gonna say Resla was out here instigating. Not at all. Not at all. I'm just saying. So one of the other things I wanted to cover for that came up on the media for this week was there was a question that was really coming up in my mind because I was looking at a video from Fresh and Fit, and they were talking about how basically red pill channels, or rather manosphere channels, because MTR is a person that got hit on a. You said you sent me a videos, CCD. Got you. Oh shit! Look, this man over here, he's starting all kind of shit. Damn. Okay, listen now. See, we gotta pause on this. He ready. Listen, OG, he made a challenge for you. He got a challenge for you. All right. He got a challenge for you. Hold up. Look at this, OG. He said, challenge Look at CCD. He put down the gauntlets, sir. The gauntlets. He said, "You're not ready, OG." He said, fuck smoking gas. He said he smoked fuel cells. He said he smoked the shit that come off the oil rigs. Damn, man. He said, play around if you want to. He said, no coughing. This man over here talking big game now. He said, no coughing. He said, chimney all the time. Smokestacks all day. That's messed up. OG, he said he smoked all day, every day. He never high. He just keep going. Damn. That's messed up. He issuing challenges. Look. He done ruining how the way the show is going. I just want to put a service announcement that I smoke better than OG. I handle my shit better than OG. I'm just saying this. Oh, what's good, John the Baptist? Nah, we just out here trying to clarify some shit up there. Who's smoking burning bush better? Apparently. CCD throwing on the gauntlet, saying that he can handle his better than OG. It's messed up. I think that is so messed up. OG didn't even ask for nothing. OG didn't do anything. Next thing you know, he got a challenge at his doorstep. I don't know what you're gonna do, OG. I don't know. Listen. You can rewatch the stream. I ain't started. CCD started from the beginning. We was not talking about weed or nothing. Come on, man. I don't talk about none of that shit. CCG just came out and said, I roll with OG, and you know what? My shit is more gangster. I was like, damn, why you said that? Why you said that? Damn. I'm just saying. That's not what CCD is saying. Now CCD, he put up the whole gauntlet now. He threw down the video. I don't know about that now, girl. I don't know. I might have to get a video of like OG smoking 3 at once. I don't know. Like now we out there throwing videos out. Like, listen, I ain't just talking shit. I got documentation. He said, I got it on video. That's messed up. OG, you ain't even gotta answer him. You ain't gonna answer him at all. Just let this we gonna just let him rock. You ain't got to take the challenge. You don't have to take the challenge. I just think it's messed up. That's all. Listen, OG, you ain't gotta prove yourself to me. You ain't gotta prove yourself to me, man. It's all good. I'm just saying. CCD out there talking shit. You ain't gotta prove yourself to me. But CCD out there talking shit. I'm just letting you know that. He was just talking shit, but now he threw the video, man. Saying, you ain't got to prove nothing to me. I believe you. You my dog. You my guy. But I'm just letting you know, like, I thought it was fucked up the way how CCD did that. I'm just saying. No, sir. CCD say he don't choke, he don't sleep, nothing. He said it's like breathing air to him. He said nothing wrong. I'm just saying. That's messed up. He's talking big. He's talking big. It's messed up. I'm just saying. I don't know nothing about that. I'm a drinker, not a smoker. I don't know nothing about that. I think it's messed up. So, like I said, there's this thing on social media right now. I wish I could find the original video from Abba and Preach, because it was like earlier in the week when I saw it. But listen, he probably is. He probably getting a whole newspaper right now. He just laying out with a whole newspaper to roll up. I don't know. But basically, there's been this thing on social media right now that basically the government or aspects of the government system are basically going after people who are part of manosphere or even red pill channels by labeling them misogynistic. And for those who don't know, there was a video for mediocre tutorials and reviews that he got labeled as one of the people who are like number 2, I believe, in being misogynistic and having misogynistic content, which is crazy because anyone who really follows MTR would automatically know that this is not something that's necessarily his nature. Especially, he actually pulled away as saying that he's not even part of the red pill community, and yet he got kind of dragged into this whole thing. And now this is something that might actually get dragged into Aber and Preach as well. And I think the big connection with all these different people are when we look at red pill content that happens for like a fresh and fit. Honestly, there are a lot of places that have like manosphere content, but now manosphere content is also now synonymous with red pill content. It's not the same thing, but it is pulled together. So I guess people don't want to delineate the difference between them. And now that's just kind of what we have to deal with on a normal basis. It's not right. I was actually looking at Night Talk channel who actually mentioned it, and it made me want to think about what was being mentioned. What was being mentioned on it. I can't remember. I can't find the video for Abba and Preaching. He didn't link it, so I can go back to it. But I'll give you the snippet of basically what they were saying, because I like looking at Night Talk's channel from time to time as well. Here we go. This is what they were saying.
The gist of it is this: they got government-funded programs to get red pillars out of here and get them demonetized or whatever it is. On their scale, you'd be male supremacy.
No, you would.
No, on their scale, you would become. You just saying what you said is male supremacy.
No, it's not.
It is.
No.
On their scale, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Okay, this one's a weird one. In 2023, a CVE organization called Peril at America University was awarded $750,000 under the DHS TVT program to inoculate teens against extremism. This program is overseen by MSNBC columnist Cynthia Miller Idris. You may remember her from when she was recently flamed by Elon Musk for an article relating physical fitness to white supremacy. The grant proposal states it will use short-form video inoculation strategies to interrupt pathways to violent extremism, and that Peril Peril's the organization, has teamed up with Google's Jigsaw and with media production company called Long Story Short Media to do this. Among the target populations for Peril program are content creators and social media influencers who are trained in the techniques of narrative storytelling, short-form video, evidence-based inoculation style scripting, and production. What? Also redacted from the application is the name of a YouTube influencer with 585,000 subscribers who agreed to support their project by producing and training others. Okay. Now, what are they targeting?
So think about that. Don't you think that we pay enough money and taxes and everything else going on that this is not the kind of focus that should be happening when it comes to government sources like the DHS? Helps human services? Seriously? To invest their time into basically going after media stuff like content creators? And not even necessarily for things like their actual full content, but rather that they're focusing on short form content. That's a little crazy for me. I think it's funny that we can have particular media outlets that do particular things, but then we can drag actual government entities into it to systematically target particular platforms or particular people on platforms. Keep in mind, and this can happen to anybody. Let me just put this out here. That could happen to roughly anyone, because anyone let's just put it out there. I'm gonna just say it. Anybody who just happens to be talking about men's health, men getting better, men getting their act right because they want to coach young people into the right direction. You could be looked at as basically being promoting misogynistic tendencies. Can we just, you know what? And I did not expect that for this show, but I'm gonna do it. So give me a moment. Because I need to know if it's just me that thinks that. So I'm going to add the link to the chat because I need to know if it's just me. So anyone who feels froggy about coming up and just basically giving me your point of view, let me know. But I have this question because there was a conversation that was being held, and I was watching an old. I wonder if I could find it. It'll probably take me too much time. But there was something that happened on an episode of Real Time with Bill Maher, and there was a conversation when they were talking about the biggest threat, the biggest thing, and the biggest problem that was happening with young boys is the fact that they don't have a lot of male father figures, and that this was something that they had, like, you know, people with Bill Maher, their age, whatever, coming up as people who are like Gen X and even people who are like boomers, that they had male role models who actually be able to help and coach and whatever. And now that there's no way in hell that a male can be able, who's not a father or not a family member, can be able to go over and to mentor a young man, because why? Men are automatically deemed as like pedophiles. Can we talk about the bad narratives that are taking place when it comes to a lot of what feminism is putting out for men? Men are all dangerous, which people are dangerous, period. Men and women. Then they turn around and say, men are predatory. Everyone is predatory, men and women. Even if you want to talk about all these different people within the community, they're just as much targeting people as anyone else. Then you want to talk about those who are, they want to say that men, then the stupid shit that comes up to say that you'd rather be in the woods with a bear than a man. That men are just the biggest aggressors for everybody else, yet they're your biggest saviors as well. But you don't want to put up that because you turn around and say that men should be the ones throwing away their lives to make sure that you're safe. And I'm talking about women that actually say it on these platforms that I see. But then you also have now agencies of the government that's turning around and putting things towards stopping men. Now, here's my thing. If you wish to have men, I'm just spitting from the cup. If you wish to have men get better in society, how do they do that? Because women are, we've already just stated it. There's enough evidence out there. There's actual research document. You can go to freaking Pew Research. You can go to wherever else you want. There's an overwhelming amount of statistics and actual data that shows that women are just not in the right proper mind frame to be able to adjust and take care of men. Because in the society that we have now, there are too many men that look at men as an enemy. So how can you raise a boy to be a strong masculine figure that can be able to help other men if you immediately look at him as the ops, even as a young child who does not know any better? They are supposed to be the innocents if they're children, and yet you treat them as if they're oppositions as children. How are we supposed to get better as society? Women are still saying the dumb shit of saying that we don't need men because we can just go to a sperm bank. If you don't need men and the sperm bank is now empty, who are you going to? Even if you want to go to a DC comic, where do the Amazonians get their children from? Nothing? Huh? They get them from men. Not every child in the Amazonia is a freaking woman. The men go with the men. The women stay with the women on the island. If you know your comics. The idea is that this idea that you believe, even though there's overwhelming evidence to support the fact that both men and women are needed. There's just no getting around it. But you don't hear one side state that to the other side. You'll have to show me. You'd have to show me. But I don't see a large or even a medium or even a really small amount of content propagated by men that says that women are just not needed. It's not. I don't see it. But there's a plethora throughout multiple ethnicities that turn around and have women turn around and say that men are not needed. And I would really like for there to be a strong challenge of what it would be like for women to have to figure this shit out on their own. Because even your books, even your TV shows, even like they show that when women are all on their own, they're basically just fumbling around with what already exists, and what they have that already exists is already falling apart. And it's not because they're not capable of actually learning how to take care of the stuff, but at the time when it took to be able to learn and to take care of the stuff, they weren't interested. I think women are very capable of being able to handle a lot of the industries that help foster and maintain society today. But because there's no interest in it, when shit actually hits the fan, you can't learn then. That's why they call it, you can't, that's why they state that you can't wait till when shit hits your doorstep. Where there is smoke, there is fire. So if you already see smoke, you should be prepared. You should prep yourself. You don't wait till when fire is on your doorstep. And this is the problem that we have. Because I was having this conversation with one of my female friends who started mentioning basically I guess you could say the advantages with men and such, and how things are being created. And she tried to have an argument with me about how things are even created in this world. And I said, let's just take away the one real thing that you talk about, and that's childbearing, right? What else are you creating? Because most of the things that men are creating, they're creating out of competition. They're doing it because they want to compete against other men to create the greatest thing that will happen. That just so happens to turn out well for society. It's not really to impress other women. Some people do things that will help other women, and that's how they things come into fruition. But most men compete on an aspect that will go up against other men. We have an innate competitive nature towards each other. And we've been doing it for a long time. Whether it was collecting one rock, having two rocks now, to be able to fend people off, to be able to push natural carriage, to building a fucking table, to building chairs. All of these things throughout time has always been built in competition with one another to make life easier. Which is why I always laugh kind of at the aspects of how women look at feminism. Not because feminism is not a great thing in wanting to come up and have your bearings within the world. That's not it. That's not the point, that, or not even the aspect I'm going to. It's just that the aspect of feminism does not promote competition. It promotes being equal. And that's why it's failing. It fails because it does not promote for women to do better. It promotes for women to try to be equal. That's my thing. I think if we have feminism that turned around and said that we want women to be able to be more industrialists, be more of an ingenuity mindset to create, we wouldn't have a problem. But the ideal that we see within feminism is to take what's already there and just distribute it across everybody else. But there's no real form of creation. It's to put people in places of things that already exist, but not actually to build upon things and make things stronger. You know, I was looking at the last Planet of the Apes movie, and the concept that I kept hearing throughout the movie was apes together strong. And you don't get that. You don't get that in feminism. You don't. Equality does not mean strength. It doesn't equal strength. Because if other people have to use what other people made and there's no building upon that, it's not strength. You working on a strong house, on a straw house, is you working on a straw house. You finding a way to make a straw house and you up there know how to make with clay to turn into something that turns around later on to a brick house, that's strength. And this was the kind of conversation I was having with my friend. And when I had to break it down to her, and we were having a good hour conversation with each other about it. And then she was like, so what do we do? And I said, first of all, this is just my opinion, in my opinion. Instead of you saying all the things that you are, and I say this to everybody, to men, to women, to children, instead of you telling us all the things that you are, even as you as a singular person, instead of you telling me all the things that you are, how about you start off with telling me all the things that you are not? That's it. Mayo, what's good? Thanks for coming in. Same thing for Zoomer. Thanks for showing up, man. I say that, like, before you start telling people all the things that you want to proclaim to be great at and all the things that you claim that you've done and all the things that you do, how about you start off by telling me the things that you're not good at? How about you start telling me about the things that you haven't done so we can know what needs to be worked on? Because too many people lie about the things that they claim that they've done. I want to know where you are weak at so I can know where to put you so that you can be strong. Don't lie to me about your strengths, and then I put you in a particular situation and you cannot do the job. And I think I see a lot about that when it comes to the women that we deal with in this age. I meet a lot of women that when they speak to me as if they're on a resume. And let's be honest, in the world that we know, almost everybody lies on their resume. The people who do not have the real experience lie on their resume. The people who actually have the experience, they could be holes. They could be huge, heaping gaps in your fucking resume with time. And you know what people turn around and say? Can you prove what it is that you do? And you turn around and say, give me the test right now. If I walk into a place that talks about tech or whatever, I have not been in the tech field for a while. But if you run up at me and you say, I need you to build this, I need you to have this running, I need you to set up the network, I need you to ghost all these different computers, I can do it. Because why? I have the experience. It doesn't matter the fact that I haven't been in the field for years. I have the experience. I can do it. Rather than you never have the job ever in your life, and you're telling me that because you feel like you can do it, you can do it. I have a proven record. It's not theory, it's practical. And I feel that way about a lot of the youth that we have today, because the older generation is not doing it. The older generation this is what I love about the older generation. And actually, I love even the fact that Mayo's up here. That's why I like having conversations with Mayo about a whole lot of stuff, because even he has things that makes me think about not only how older men behave, and I look at it from how they were and how I am and just how the younger generation is doing it, because I find myself at a good balance in the middle. But at the same time, there are some aspects of things that I know that older men have done that I'm just like, I'm not fucking with. But there's a lot of things that they've done that I turn around and say, I need to get on my shit. I need to get on my shit. And it's not because it were things that I didn't want to do. It's because I didn't know any better. Because the world was more physical back then. And I think as a lot of us guys, especially us millennials, and I'm not even going to speak to the Gen Z, but it's just millennials, there's a lot of things that we just don't see because we don't see that much of that physical world anymore. Plain and simple. And because we don't see that much of the physical world, especially if you live in a city like I have for pretty much all of your life, that physical world it's gone. It's not like we ignore it. It's just the perception isn't there, because the world that we live in the digital world, that's what's propagated in cities. It is. The only thing I can think about when it comes to physical labor jobs is in construction. Outside of that, there's nothing else. There's nothing else. And it's not, I mean, again, there's nothing wrong with doing physical manual labor jobs. I love it. You know, I love when I worked in production. I love being on an assembly line. I loved a lot of that stuff. I guess it's a matter of how younger people, you even say people who are younger than I am, I think they look at repetition as boredom rather than repetition being something that builds skill. I just got totally thrown off, but a lot of this stuff made me think about how there's a huge attack on being a male, finding masculinity, because quite frankly, we claim that we want people to be the current and even younger generations to rise up, be more men, take more charge, and be able to help develop the kind of nations that we need for the future. But there's this huge demonization of just being born a single sex, because I don't hear anyone bashing anyone who wants to be a trans man. You also don't hear it propagated a lot in the media. But you do hear a lot about people who are males in general, naturally born, everyday males. And I think that it needs to stop. It needs to stop, because here's the truth of the matter, and I don't know why this cancer, and I'm going to call it that, this cancer is spreading, that women really believe that if all men died today, they'd be okay. Because then it's gonna sound insulting, but then women are not good with numbers. Then you must not be good with math. Fuck science. We're not gonna talk about the sciences because we got shit to the nurses, but we don't have enough doctors. But it also must mean that we don't have enough female accountants. Because anyone who's able to do some basic statistics, some basic math, just basic counting, you can be able to see through facts and figures and through geographical locations that the majority of what it takes to keep clean water alone, fuck electricity, just keep clean water, since we all have to survive off of water, that kind of situation is not being upheld by women. And again, if we could find the 50-50 or the 7 or the freaking 60-40, 40% is still better than practically zero. Where would you get your water from? And I cannot tell you how many times I have this conversation with a woman. If I just have that, well, tell me something that you know they look at. How do you clean water? And they fail the test 9 times out of 10. In fact, I'm going to say 10 times out of 10 because I still haven't met a woman that's told me how to do it properly. I'm waiting. Still, that question has so far gone undefeated. How do you get clean water? How would you go about making sure that you get clean water? And most people tell me that they would go down to the ocean. These are people who hold degrees, by the way. I'm not talking about the numbskulls who are in the street, not fresh and fit, who get these young Instagram thoughts. No, these are people who hold degrees. I'm talking about people who have bachelor degrees, people who have master degrees. And these are the things that they say to me with pride, as if, stupid, I'm going to go to the ocean. You die. You die. Yes, sir. Yes, the ocean. They think if they go to the ocean and simply boil water, they're going to be fine. That question that I give to young ladies, older ladies, but it so far has not failed. That question, I'm waiting for the woman who's smart enough to give me the proper answer, but so far that answer has gone undefeated. That question has gone undefeated. Anytime I get a shit that just feel like she's too big above her fucking britches, I just say that if all men were gone, how are you going to run these power plants with water? How are you going to run the water treatment facility? Well, we can. How? You have an engineering degree? No. You ever ran the treatment facility? No. How many women actually run the treatment facility? Well, So where you gonna get your water from? I just go down to the ocean. I hear that shit all the time. I cannot tell you how many times I heard that shit. And I'm just like, the ocean? Let's just say you live in the middle of the country. How far would it take you to get to an ocean? I just fill up my car at gas. All men are dead. Who's filling up your pumps? Who's bringing the gas to fill up your fucking gas stations? Who's doing these things? There are some female truck drivers, but there's not a whole lot. Especially not any bringing crude oil around. Speaking of crude oil, let's just say this shit happens for the wintertime. Who's putting gas into where? Into what building? What would you know about that? It's not to say that you couldn't, but there's too much of a small number to say that you guys could do it. If all men were gone, the idea of you being able to, number one, A, get to an oil rig, two, learning all the ins and outs, but the species would be gone before you have a chance to learn it all. Even with the manuals there. Even with the manuals on site, the human species would most likely be gone. And that's just only women left. It would most likely die out before you actually get it all going. From the sheer fact of learning, because you would need a strong amount of numbers to get it done. I mean, let's just ask a harder question. A harder question is going to go from there. Let's just say you got to the oil rig, right? Cool. Do many people even understand how an oil rig actually stays above the water in the middle of an ocean? Most people, not even going to talk about women, most people don't. So if somebody's not maintaining that, what's going to happen when you're on that oil rig? You're no longer floating above. You're going to sink. And most people do not know that. Most people don't. Honestly, no. I'm sorry, CCD, but no, most people don't know. I'm curious, so I'm curious, so there's a bit that I know and there's a bit that I don't know. I could kill a buck. I could fish. I know how to cut wood. I can probably build a very basic shelter. I'm not good at dressing an animal. I can say that. I'm not good at dressing an animal. I will be honest with you. I couldn't dress an animal. I couldn't tan leather. I couldn't. I will be honest in that. But there's not a whole lot that I can say that I would not be able to know, at least be able to get by. Worrying about the warmth and everything is something that I have to learn and work around. But just being able to hunt and get with the necessary things that I need, my worry about is other animals that can defend themselves, like wolves and coyotes. And God forbid if I was ever in the Sahara, the fucking savannah, fucking hyenas. Because God, I hate hyenas. I'd rather be picked apart by a freaking puma or freaking jaguar than a goddamn pack of hyenas. But there needs to be a movement that needs to really just stop all the bullshit. And unfortunately, we're not going to get it from our elected officials. We're not. I'm sorry, but there are as many. I think John the Baptist, I don't know if you're still in here, but we were having this conversation when we were talking about just the fact of how men are moving on one of the previous streams. And it's like, if men are still predominantly the ones that are in Congress, it's like they don't see that there's a huge movement to just, not for nothing, erase men. And yet we have so many stupid men that don't turn around and do the proper thing, like stop going to the sperm bank and giving up your nut. It will never be worth enough. An egg will always cost more. So why bother? Keep it to yourself. And this seems like a rather somber thing, but when I can read that basically you have DHS basically going out of their way to go hunt down men, even if they're on social media. If men are not able to digitally be able to coach and inform other men on how they need to move, and physically they cannot coach and inform other men on how to move, what are men to do? Because again, women cannot seem to raise men. They can raise boys and they can seem to somehow keep them as boys, but raising men, not something they can do. You can have grown boys, but what about men? And that's just really my thought process right now. So the idea that there was a woman, I can't remember where on my social media, but I think I might have saw it. It was either yesterday, so I don't know. I didn't think about it to for the stream, but I think she's talking to her husband, and he's saying, "You're saying that you would want our 13-year-old daughter to be out in the woods rather with a bear than with a man." So men are so evil. He's like, so if there's 6 men, at least there's 5 of those men that would at least say be decent compared to that one man. But you just believe that outright every man is just bad. Okay, cool. For all the women that just believe that all men are bad, start with your fathers, start with your brothers, and see how your family dynamics turn out. Because as much bullshit as you speak, I guarantee you don't say this to your bosses in your job because they're most likely men. I guarantee that you don't say this to your Uber drivers who are most likely men. I guarantee that you don't say this to your bus drivers who are most likely men. I guarantee you don't say this to your father. You don't say this to your brothers. I guarantee you're not going to say it to the guy that you're hoping that you can get piped down. Because why? You hate men. Why would you ever want to think about getting piped down? For those women who just think the worst of men, could you do us all a favor? Stop trying to get with us. Please and thank you. Stop it. Don't say how lonely you are. Get with a woman. Could you do, if you really detest men, ladies, stop looking for one. Stop talking on social media. Stop trying to get with a man. Stop looking for one. If there's no good men out there, please stop dating. Don't use foodie calls. Just get with women. A woman will pay for another woman's date. Sure, why not? If she's looking to be the dominant in that relationship, why wouldn't she pay for it, right? Even though, the idea of a woman paying for all the dates, paying for all the meals, doing all that other stuff, she will be following masculine characteristics. But if there are no more men around, is it masculine? Of course it is. Because why? It's a societal construct being placed upon men about what men should be doing. They would therefore be following what men would do, which means that you would still find people who try to be men. And then if there was no men around, guess what you're going to do to all those butches? You're going to believe that they should be throwing away all their lives the same way how you try to say that men should throw away their lives now. You said check my email. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. I gotta show this. This is wild. It makes sense. It's making sense. Is that what you ladies want? Is that what you ladies want? Yvette, this is what some of your friends be wanting. Makes sense. Over 6 feet. Unemployed like a pookie. Still strong. Still strong. Doesn't raise his kids. Come on now. Multiple baby mamas. Come on. Completely alpha, just want to be so violent. It makes sense. Listen, they want a bear. This woman who's with her husband turned around and said that she would rather their 13-year-old daughter be with a bear than with any man, because the man is somehow just as dangerous as the bear. I'm like, when we hear things like this, I'm sorry. Here's my thing. If I was married and I heard that come out of my wife's mouth, even after I tried to have a very rational conversation, she would have no clue that divorce papers would be coming her way. It would be so hidden. Crouching tiger, hidden divorce papers. That's it. Why? Because she's lost her fucking mind, especially because it's documented. Gone. And I need my daughter too, because quite frankly, the mother's insane. Absolutely insane. Did you hear all this shit, Judge? Even when I put up the... Because the way how it's being phrased right now is that men are not humane. There's no humanitarianism when it comes to men. Tell me if I'm wrong. Chat. Tell me if I'm wrong. The way how it's being posed up by a lot of women right now is that men are not humane. There's no humanity when it comes to men, even though men are the ones who simply put humanity on the map. All men are dangerous. There's no humanity among men. There's no sense in having around, because it's just nothing but violence and death as long as men are around. That's the way how I'm seeing this. I hate this topic because it really infuriates me, because not for nothing, it would be, as much as I see these other countries who are on birth declines, never mind the younger generations. Never mind the younger generations, but when I see a lot of the birth declines that are happening within other countries, because it's happening everywhere. When you think of the Western world itself, it wouldn't surprise me if men in general, regardless of age, pulled away. If they pulled away from having kids because of just how absurd and insane Western women sound. Because you claim to be so intelligent, you move with strategic purpose, and yet when you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are, and it's not a good thing. There's a thing that I've done with my female friends, and even I even used to do this with my girlfriend. I used to have to say this with my girlfriend. It's like, somehow you believe that if you act nonchalant, or if you be cute, if you think that you're being cute, that you're being funny. You're not funny, and being cute does not save you. It doesn't. Being cute does not save you from looking stupid. I say that to all the ladies who turn around and do dumb shit, and then turn around and try to feign that they're joking or they're just trying to be cutesy, whatever. Acting cute while doing something dumb does not save you. You still look dumb. Your looks won't save you. You'll look dumb. I say this to my female friends. I've even said this to my girlfriend. Don't do it. You should never put yourself in a position where you look stupid. And just thinking that if you just act cute, it's going to save you. It won't. You'll just look twice as dumb. But I think, I'll say it to a lot of women around. They think that if they act with a childlike mindset, that it'll get them out of trouble. But then get mad when you have these content creator men that turn around and say you treat women like children. It's a fucked up 22 that you see. It's a double-edged sword for sure. Because you want to be respected, you want to be treated like an adult, whatever. But then you do dumb shit and then you act like a child and then wonder why men will treat you like children. Why men will not take you seriously. Make it work. You're going to be one thing or the other. Because here's my thing. You can have, ladies, you can have it all. You can't have it all at once. You can't. And no guy has ever had it all at once. I think that's the lesson that we have to teach a lot of the young women coming up. You can have it all, never at once. You got to pick something. The same way how I tell a guy that you have to pick a struggle. Sometimes, if you're lucky, the struggle was picked for you, but you can only have one struggle. If you are short, that's your struggle. Everything else, you can get around. Listen, you're stuck short. The Lord gave you that. Consider it to be a blessing because that means you can work on your money. You can work on your intelligence. You can work on a degree. You can work on your muscles. You can do everything because the one struggle that you have is the one thing you ain't got to worry about. Because there's nothing worse than you tall and you broke and you don't have no proper bill for yourself and you dusty. Like, you can only have one struggle. That's the way how it really puts it on, man. You can only have one struggle. You need to have a group of strong individuals with you who can help supplement for your weaknesses. No, that's not even true. That's not even true. Because I don't know any woman that wants to experience any pain. Easily sacrifice somebody else before ever getting hurt, especially even emotionally. They don't want to experience either, emotionally or physically. Me personally, I will rather deal with physical pain. I would deal with physical pain before emotional pain because physical pain I'm going to forget over time. I can adjust to physical pain. Emotional pain, yeah. Keep that one further away. I'd rather not have it in my memory. Anyone who's ever gone through surgery, basically, if you remember how much pain you were in after the surgery, despite the drugs that you've had, all you know is that you was in some serious pain. But think about it 2 years later, 3 years later, even a year later. Can you really remember how much pain you was in? Or you just remember how much you were really suffering back then? The brain has a way of just knocking those things out. You know that you was in some serious pain. You remember how debilitating it was, but you can't remember exactly the extreme amount of pain that you were feeling. And that's just the way how the mind works. But emotionally, you can keep reoccurring because that pain is not physical. That pain is emotional. That pain is up here. Because that pain in your mind comes with other things. It comes with all the endorphins. It comes with all the other chemical reactions. It comes with all the estrogen. It comes with everything. To help you relive an emotional state, not a physical state. Because a person who's even in a particular injury on any part of their body can learn to adjust with the world and find themselves in a normal state that they're able to get over it. Their mind is able to rationally get over that. But an emotional event, like you losing a child or you losing your spouse or whatever, that's harder to get over. Emotional traumas are harder to get over than physical ones. That's documented. It's documented. Emotional pains are harder to deal with than physical ones. That's not the way I see it in the studies. Emotional pains are harder to deal with. It is easier to deal with. It is easier for you to deal with a slip and fall and you shattering your femur at one point, and now you have to worry about pins and needles and everything being in your legs and such, than you getting over an emotional trauma like being raped or being molested early or whatever it could be. Like, it is easier to get over that physical pain than it is to deal with the emotional one. An emotional pain will keep you in therapy. A physical pain, just a few weeks, if not a couple of months in physical therapy. It will not cost you tens of thousands of dollars that will always still stay with you, by the way, because not like going through all that therapy really gets over it. It just helps you condition yourself to help move over, not for you to forget it. For you getting physically injured, you can learn to forget it because you cannot relive that actual physical pain. Unless it's something that chronically that's stuck with you, like you lost muscle in your leg that had to be torn out and you're constantly in pain because you're reliving it because it's chronic. Something that healed, you get over it. But emotional pains, for some reason, is hard to get over because you're reliving an event that, quite frankly, keeps reoccurring. You can't reoccur pain unless you're literally injuring yourself physically. So it's different when it comes to people. Some people are able to get over particular events, but when we say traumatic events, do we talk about physical trauma or do we talk about mental and emotional trauma? We talk about mental and emotional trauma because those are the hardest scars to get rid of. They even say uh, matters of the wounds are easy, but matters of wounds to the heart can last a lifetime. And that's just what it is. Because it's chronic. That's a chronic injury that stays with you. That's what I mean. It's a chronic injury that stays with you. If you did a back surgery and let's say your back got better, it was done with the intention of actually fixing you, and it stayed that way. If you didn't feel the pain, you would forget about all the pain you used to experience. Because you have a constant reminder, because it's chronic, it stays with you. The same thing like an emotional traumas. It stays with you. Unless somebody can hypnotize you to get rid of that stuff. Let's just be honest. Psychiatrists are not hypnotists. I know some of them would like to be, but they're not hypnotists. And then when we have this thing when it comes to people, women in this particular set of the conversation, because they're the ones who's pushing this conversation for DHS, a government agency, to turn around and step in and start targeting men. But at the same time, the broader part of the conversation that I brought up that we went on a long tangent on, namely me, is the fact that men are not able to do anything to help other men. Young men, older men, we can't get together in a community as men because we are immediately dispersed, immediately disrupted, all that stuff. Men are supposed to, the moment you're born now, men are supposed to be on an island by themselves. They are not allowed to commune. They are not allowed to congregate. They are not allowed to do anything with each other. And it's so easy to see within the world of social media. It's so easy to see within the world of business. Anyone who works for anyone else can see that. All your HR professionals are being indoctrinated to believe it. I would love for DEI to die. Because DEI openly discriminates. Like, I've literally seen applications that will literally discriminate. And that's against law. So what do we do about that? What do we do about that? If people who are in power are so willing to forsake, because that's what it is. These people who are in power who are willing to forsake the betterment of the future, but then they keep turning around and saying the American public, but willing to forsake the future of Americans. And to turn around and say that you can have a government agency now start targeting men. Keep in mind, not even physically, over the internet. Seriously? Seriously. Okay. All right. You have it your way. You have it your way. Well, what is one to really do about that? And then you turn, but here's the next thing. If we don't get on the ball, and I say we, I meant as men, if we don't get on the ball to just say, fuck what everybody else is saying, I'm going to do what I'm going to do and let everybody, that's the thing. The thing that really stops a lot of men from being able to take care of other men, younger men, older men, anything, and get into proper groups and be able to have proper dialogue and proper positive things with each other, is that they have to be able to say this: I don't care what anyone else is saying about me. And I don't think a lot of men are willing to do that. I think a lot of men, regardless of ethnicity, are too hell bound by shame. We say that shame should be something that's big and propagated and held up. We need to bring shame back, right? But there was a time, I'm gonna say this, there was a time where shame was put heavily on women. Don't be a whore. How can you be an adulterer? All this other stuff. Now shame is all put on men for everything, because you can't shame a woman for being a whore now. You can't shame her for being a sex worker. Sex work is real work. You can't shame her for stealing someone else's man. You can't shame her for getting in the middle of someone else's marriage and ruining that marriage and then trying to get that man. You can't shame her for pulling out a knife and chasing a man down the block. You can't shame her for none of that stuff. You can't. You can't shame her for emasculating that man and cutting off his dick and throwing it out the window. You can't shame her for anything. You can't shame her for attacking a man. So what's to be done? If a man wants to stay away from a woman, he's shamed. If a man goes after a woman that he's looking for and he gets turned down, he is shamed. If a man wants to look after the benefits of other men, he is shamed. If a man wants to not help other men because of how it's looked at to help other men, he is shamed. Yes, absolutely. And then, worse than that, because he loses his passions, she'll shame him and say, you're not the man you used to be. You're not the man you used to be. I remember when you had so many dreams and so many goals. Like, heifer, I gave up that shit because you were bitching about it. You're right. If a man does not get married, he's shamed. And depending on what demographic you go to, or which ethnicity you go to, Like, there are some shames that hold heavier than others. There was the strongest shame that I knew for women was one, being called a whore, which is no longer really big a shame anymore, because women would dog other women out. They're still the biggest progenitors of dogging other women out. Women like to believe that it's men that keep dogging them out. Ladies, y'all dog each other out more than anyone that we know. Every man will tell you that. The other shame that women will throw up, the biggest shame is that a woman that doesn't have a man. But now you're allowed to be whores and you're allowed to be single. So what shame is left for women? But men have increased in shame. And I tell everybody, there's not a whole lot of shit that I can be shameful of. I've done my time. I will not be boxed in, especially by anyone else. And I've already taken the shackles off myself. I will not be boxed in by anyone else. Period. Point blank. It's not gonna happen. No one else is gonna do that. If I do something, I do it for me. It's never for you. Yes, I am wholeheartedly selfish. But then you get the wrong messages from people who are online. Wrong men who are online who still do shit that just really does not help anyone else. No one else. Held up by a whole bunch of other men who are there next to them who also are not part of the right things. And a good example is, did anyone see that freaking that fresh and fit, everybody on the stage type shit, and then the one bald-headed big guy, whatever, who's just talk about all that weird bullshit? Let me see if I can find that real quick. Oh, look at this, something on my timeline. Yeah, this looks like it might cover it. And for those who haven't seen it, this is bullshit that's been happening now. This, because there's a term that we, you know what? Let me ask the question. Let me ask this question. The term. So here's the question, chat, and I want to know from you guys. Should the term alpha male be killed? Because alpha males are really known for those who get stuck and they turn around and have to lead a pack. We don't really have many men that run in packs anymore. But I want to know what you think. Should the term alpha male be killed? Because think about it. What good is it now to be called an alpha male? I'm curious. What positive traits come with being called an alpha male? Well, so Mayor, you say it needs to be used honestly. Well, in what sense? Because we don't really have spaces where men are really able to congregate properly, and there's actual proper leader able to lead. Because the person who leads the group is the alpha male. This whole thing of equality, and we're all alpha males. You're not. Someone has to lead. Others will follow. This is why we have a whole hierarchy system. You might all be tough, but one person is leading, and that is your alpha male. Even when I see a whole bunch of guys sitting on the fucking stage, like these yahoos, let me just put this up here, like these freaking yahoos up here. One of them is the alpha male. Whether he's the most stoic, whether he is the most bombastic, whatever. Only one of them can be an alpha male. They can't all be sitting up there, all smoking cigars, all chilling, all saying that they're alpha males. If you're in the group, someone is going to be looking to upsize the other person. One of them is going to be an alpha male, not all of them. So when we say we want to use these things honestly, the term alpha male already has a definition. But the idea that a lot of these men, especially men on social media, wants to put up is that we're all alpha men. Doesn't that sound a lot like equality, male? You can't all be. You might be in your house because you're the only male in your house. But when you get around a whole group of other men, someone's going to be looking to take the charge from everybody else. And other men will either battle for that position or they will sub to say, this is the person who I think is going to be the person that's most beneficial because he has the best qualifications. But there's not everybody's leading and everybody's in their own direction, yet we all leading at the same time. That sounds a lot like equality. But we don't really have people talk about sigmas. Sigmas, guess what? The same way how they brought up sigmas, sigma was a new term. Like we already had that. It was called the omega. In every wolf group, and the only group that doesn't really survive on is lions. There only has to be an alpha because all the other males are kicked out. But if you even look at wolves, when you look at apes, there's an alpha and there's an omega. The sad part about the omega is that they can survive on their own or they'll try to, but if they want to have a group, they got to fight just as hard to get into the group because they did not submit early. They got to prove themselves. Same thing when it comes to wolves. The one that's the omega, when they realize it's just really too hard on their own and they really falter and they want to get back in the group, they got to do fucking tricks. They got to do up and down and hunt on their own or be the first to attack a particular animal before the whole group comes in. They got to prove their worth to be able to get into the group. That's the only problem when an omega no longer wants to be an omega. But can we say it's the same thing for sigmas now? Are sigmas really trying to get back into groups at some point in time? Possibly. Do they acknowledge it? Probably not, because into this day and age, most men are not willing to admit anything, even to those who are rich. They could be at the verge of bankruptcy in their job, but yet they'll talk about all the great things that they're doing. And that's my point. So there's no term right now that's really being used honestly. Sigma Zeta box. I agree. Because you know who used to be the ones that get chased off real early out of a group of males? It was the omegas. Because regardless of the fact that the alpha was there and they had different wolves with different female wolves there, the ones that would wind up cheating was the ones that cheated with the omega. Because the omega and the alpha have the same qualities. The difference is one leads and the other was willing to be by themselves. This is the way it's always been. But some are really just too much out there. And again, we have fake alphas that are out there. For some reason, some people seem to believe that if you are loud, if you scream, if you throw shit around, if you show that you have big muscles, that somehow that makes you an alpha. It doesn't. It does not. People tend to look at things and they make prescriptions on what they believe things need to be. And I've always been a person to say that there's no way there's a one size fits all for particular things, especially when it comes to human beings, because you can walk into a room with human beings, 6 human beings, and get 6 different answers. That's how complex we've always been. So the idea that one man can come in and turn around and tell you what it is and how it needs to be for everyone is absolutely insane. And that's what something that this guy did. And the idea that, first of all, intimidation is not even, because I see the thing up there. It says fake alpha tries to and fails intimidation. Intimidation doesn't make you alpha. Showing your work makes you alpha. You can talk all the shit that you want. If you get dropped, no one else takes you seriously. But he's the one that was talking a whole bunch of shit. And actually, I'm seeing another thing about him. For those who don't know, I'll let you see it.
Across the board. If you're not ripped, if you're not rich, if you ain't rare, if you don't stand out, if you ain't across the board successful, it doesn't mean shit to me. If you got straight tits and you're in your Rolls Royce, you look like a fucking clown to me. I'm just laughing at your dumb fucking ass.
Stop. If you're a big man and you're in a Rolls Royce, how many people can afford a Rolls Royce? Did anyone ever remember hearing that a Rolls Royce was on sale? Anyone ever seen coupons or a percentage off? Come in and get come to the Rolls Royce dealership and you can get 10% off or whatever. No, I don't ever remember anyone getting a percentage off of buying a Rolls Royce ever. In fact, check this out. How about this? In the Rolls Royce, right? Believe it or not, most people who haven't seen Rolls Royce, in the Rolls Royce, there's actually a small compartment in the door of a Rolls Royce that has an umbrella. Anybody want to know how much the umbrella itself costs for a Rolls Royce? Just because it has the Rolls Royce emblem on it. Anyone want to take a guess of how much that umbrella costs? Oh, you got yours on layaway? Is that right? Is that right? Close. Zoomer's close. Anyone else? Anyone else want to take a guess? We're talking about an umbrella, folks. We're not talking about it deflects bullets. We're not talking about you can walk in the rain and it'll deflect lightning. It's an umbrella. It just repels rain. It's not waterproof umbrella. Nothing. Not at all. It's a simple umbrella with an emblem at the bottom stating that it's Rolls Royce. And Zoomer's close. It's actually 4K. 4K for a long umbrella. 4K. What umbrella should ever cost that much? Ever in anyone's life? In anyone's life.
Okay. But this is the whole fucking point. You have a weakness. Change it, motherfucker. How the fuck are you going to lead people if you don't realize your weakness is their way out? They're not going to listen to you. You're sitting there possessing shit that they don't want to have. So, I mean, this is what people say. Oh, it's not about the money. It's about family, Wes. It's about this, about that. Motherfucker, when you're making money, it's about the money. When it's family, it's about family. When you're at the gym, it's about muscle. Whatever you're doing, it's about that. There's no black and white life. It's the gray area. You have to be good at everything. That's the goal, to really excel.
If you're about family, it's about family. If you're about the gym, it's about muscle. It's about money. You're making the money. But then he turns around and says you have to be good at everything. I'm gonna go over that again. In fact, he can say it better than I did. Just hear this shit again.
When you're at the gym, it's about muscle. Whatever you're doing, it's about that. Testing shit that they don't want to have. So, I mean, this is what people say. Oh, it's not about the money. It's about family, Wes. It's about this, about that. Motherfucker, when you're making money, it's about the money. When it's family, it's about family. When you're at the gym, it's about muscle. Whatever you're doing, it's about that. There's no black and white life. It's the gray area. You have to be good at everything.
Okay. So, whatever you're focusing on, it's about that. You live in the gray. These are his words. You live in the gray. So how can you be good at everything? If you had to be good at everything, you wouldn't be living in the gray. You'd be living in black and white. Folks, tell me if I'm wrong about that. If you have to be, How can you live in the gray? There's no nuance. That's it. You have to be. It's not he didn't say, if you're good in the gym, if you're good at making money, if you're with your family, he said literally, if you're good in the gym, you're good in the gym. If you're good at if you're in the gym, you're there to make muscle. If you're there trying to make money, you're gonna make money. If you're there with your family, you're good for your family. Then he turns around and says, you live in the gray, but then tells you you have to be good at all these things. It negates everything he just said. He should have said, no, you have to be good in the gym, you have to be good at money, and you have to be good with your family. All. There would be no gray. There'd be no grayscale, sir. There's no gray matter. It's just straight black and white. And the world doesn't work that way. Never has. But this is what happens when you get particular people who run on machismo and try to prescribe to you, men, what is it that you have to do to be what they believe makes a man. When there has been never a blueprint, let me say that again, never a concrete blueprint to masculinity. Just like there's no concrete blueprint for maturing. You can mature early, you can mature late. I know there are people that turn around and say, well, if you're not at this age, then you're wrong. Because the same way how we like to hold that down for men, we can't turn around and say, oh, we can't hold that down for women. And I see plenty of men do it. Again, for men that like to turn around and say, well, it's okay for women because women are like children. Then regardless of what age that woman is, if you turn around, you want to sleep with her, doesn't that kind of make you a pedophile? I'm gonna let just sit in the air for a moment. It's either that or you like to take advantage of the disabled. I'm gonna let it just sit in the air for a moment. What do you think? That's just because it's crazy to me to use either of those type of things for people that you claim is the most important decision that you'll be making is the partner that you pick, but they're okay to act like children or they're basically disabled because they're okay to act like children. So there's the mental instability that happens with them. Then you'll turn around and say you need to have all these things, but then again, you live in the grayscale, so then you can focus on one of these things at a time. Literally acts of confusion in real time. I think guy who thinks that to be good at everything is that exactly he'll fail. He will fail. He's always going to have his sights on so much small shit that he will always miss out on the grand design. He'll always miss out. He'll never see the big picture. He has no sense of freedom, not just for himself, but also has no freedom for the people that's next to him that, quite frankly, he's supposed to be instilling a sense of confidence so that they can be able to do the job that will make his life inevitably easier. How does that work?
That's the goal, to really excel in every area. And that's the worst thing about these motherfuckers. They try to give you relationship advice. You got a borderline Miami 2. That's like a fucking Mississippi 6. Don't give me relationship advice to my 10 when you got a 2, motherfucker. Shut up. But this whole thing. People don't think I'm going to put the measuring stick to their motherfucking face. They better just watch what they say around a motherfucker who's beating them in every area. You better have a bad bitch. You better be ripped. You better fucking be rolling some sick shit. That's what I like.
So here's my thing about what he said. And this is going to be a hit towards all the other men who sat there next to him. None of those men said shit about them, whether they are the ones who are already married. Because here's the issue that I have with a lot of men. The only men that turn, this is what I'll say in my past. The only men that I've really seen turn around, and that's my point, Yvette. But there are many people who do this, right? So I'm going to get to this point real quick. I have met many men that, regardless of what your position is, regardless of how much you're beating them, regardless of, you know, how you move and all the other accolades and how much other people acknowledge how you move, that they will always find a way to shame you. So for instance, he says, my bitch is a 10. Your bitch is a 10 to you. To you. If let's just say I am at the top of my game. I'm making millions of money. I'm at the top of my game. I got a good car. All this other stuff. Oh, you know what? Not even gonna use me for example. Let's look at Jeff Bezos. One of the richest men in the world. Whoever looked at McKinsey and said, that's a bad bitch. You got yourself a 10, Jeff. Whoever said that. He worked out. He had a great business. Still got a great business. He's phenomenally wealthy. No one ever said his chick, his ex-chick, looked great. Not even his current chick. No one ever turned around and say, bad bitch, 10. No one ever said that. No one. Because men will even find a way to shame each other down. Even if men will always look for some other way to try to bring another man down rather than turn around and just be honest. So let's just say because I'm different. I try to see things and I try to say, what can I do to be different that will throw other men off in a room? I'm that person. I'll just say it. I'm conniving. I will try to think very different. Just to say something that other men will look at me like, that was weird. So let's just say I'm in a room, we're in a room. Let's just say Mayo's in the room, right? Mayo got his girl with him. Mayo's doing his thing. He top of his game. We all in the boardroom. He doing his thing, whatever case may be. There's a whole bunch of us in there. We all got our chicks, whatever. Let's just say I'm sitting with the rest of those guys and they're looking at Mayo. He's one of the top managers. He's talking with the VP or even the CEO of the company. I'm dealing with the other guys that are around me. And they're like, look at this guy, Mayo. Man, his chick don't even look that good. I swear my girl look better. Keep in mind, I probably already seen their girls. It's like, okay, you got a beautiful woman. But I'm gonna say that about all women. Yeah, you got a beautiful woman. Yeah. I would never put a number on it. Yeah, Mayo's chick is not a 10. But I would do something really to upset them in that moment. I was like, you know what? I don't know about that. I think he's moving in the right direction. When I see Mayo, I'm thoroughly impressed. Other men will look at me in that moment and be like, what do you mean you're impressed? I'm like, yeah, that guy Mayo, he impresses me. Mayo, be honest, since I just put you in this, how many men do you know would think of that being gay if a man said that they are impressed by the way how another man has got his shit up? I don't mean got that shit up like that, but how he got his money up, how he moved up in the company, how he moved, how his woman's been there for him. How many men would look at that and be like, he's gay? Rather than acknowledging the fact that he made all the right moves, exactly, Mayo. You said most. Rather than saying that he made all the right moves, he made all the right connections. I'm not going to throw shade on his shit because obviously we're sitting in a fucking group where we're watching him fucking rub elbows with the people that we wish that we would be talking to. And I would make them all feel uncomfortable in that moment by saying that. Because there would be no hate, no malice in my voice when I did it. Honestly, he impressed me. He did it the right way. He did it in a way I wasn't thinking about. Oh, don't talk shit about yourself. I'm not. I'm saying he did it the right way. Like, I'm even going to make it worse than him. Honestly, I think we can learn something from that man. Most men won't do that. Most men don't have enough humility to do that. To who matters? And that's my point. But let's just say if I'm in a group of regular people, now we're not even talking about CEO situation. We're just in a regular group of people. Again, Yvette, you said it the right way. To who matters? Because everybody sees somebody differently. There are guys who walk up to me and say, my chick is bad. And then they finally meet the girl at a company party or whatever. And we're all looking like, oh, you're so-and-so. Oh, yeah, we've heard so much about you. And nobody there thinking that that chick is bad. Not a one. Not a one. And then for some reason, the guy who doesn't really talk about his wife, doesn't really talk about his girlfriend, whatever, he shows up and you're just like, oh, yeah, no, Jim talks about you. He never said you were so beautiful, though. And then she's sitting there like, oh, please stop. Like, and he's like, yeah, I really don't talk about you at work. That's just what it is. Oh, no. You said you go with your other guys. You're just like, you see Jim's wife? Fucking baddie. I can't believe he pulled that. Him? Jesus. I thought he was like some introvert that was in the corner. He got himself a little bad one. Damn. So it's so weird how not only men, but how women, how people in general will pull out these big fucking laundry lists, fucking large fucking CVS receipts of what they believe that a person should actually be like. When the truth of the matter is this, they don't live up to their own metrics. Because I have a great ideal in my head. Because I just finished explaining it. It's to whoever they look at. I even said it to herself. She said it the right way. To whoever you're looking at. That if I saw his chick, he said his wife, right? If I saw his wife, I would not think that she's a 10. Well, for one, because I don't think 10s exist. But I wouldn't think that she was a 10 at all. People have their preferences. And that's it. But the idea that you're saying you need to be ripped, you don't. Jeff Bezos, when he first got it prominent, nobody saw him and thought that he was the shit. He got big after he started getting big and he started getting muscles hitting the gym around the time when he was getting his divorce. No one ever looked at Elon Musk and was like, that man is ripped. People don't do it. No, whoever looked at Bill Gates and say that man is ripped. Whoever looked at Linda Gates and said that's a baddie. No one. And that's fine. So the idea that there are men out there who will try to give you, this is the truth of the matter. Most these men, and I'm not talking about just the ones on the screen over here. Most these men who just have that type of attitude, that type of machismo, they always want to be Moses. They always want to be the one that come down from the mountain and try to have a book for you and say that this is the way you need to live your life. But he can afford it. He can afford it. And you know who else can afford it? This man over here. This man, Myron Gaines. He was also able to afford it. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. You do whatever you want to do. It's your money. So long as you don't turn around and say that, well, the gold standard for every man now is that you need to get a hair transplant. Don't. There are going to be men who are prominent who made money and they don't have any hair, and men who are prominent who turn around and have hair. You said it yourself, Elon Musk has a good hair transplant. Jeff Bezos, bald head. Both doing well. But the idea that you have men up here who turn around and, let's be honest, they're nobodies to the rest of us. Because the truth of the matter is that what wealth do they put up that benefits other men? Except for the idiots, and I'll call them that, the idiots in the crowd that paid their money to sit down and watch other men basically talk shit about them to their face. what men, what any of these men up there that are really up there really benefiting other men, not sitting there and saying, well, you need to do this, you need to do that, and you need to do this, you need to do that, and yeah, you're a piece of shit if you don't get this done, and you need to do this. Where is they out there saying, you know what, how about this, you paid up this kind of money to come with me, to pay to hear from me, I'm gonna do better than you hearing from me. How about I take you with me and show you shit? That's a real mentor. That's a real mentor. I'm going to basically, the one who pays up a shit ton of money because you've invested, I'm going to hand walk you through my process. If you don't get it, after everything you spend, if you don't get it, that's on you. But I'm going to hand walk you through it. I'm not going to go through a couple of fucking interviews. I'm not going to do a little fucking webinar. I'm going to say, here's what it is. Here's when you're investing in me. If you invest this much into me, I'm going to invest this much into you. And that is it. That's the way it used to be done. That's just the way it used to be done. If you manage to get yourself into the door, your mentors took care of you. And just by the simple fact that you had that kind of person as a mentor, whether you worked at like Goldman Sachs or whatever, WorldCom, like once you had those mentors, you can take those names and go anywhere else that you want to go in those particular industries. Because all you have to do is say, I worked with so-and-so from this company. And that person who's on the phone, like, oh, you did? Oh, you did? They get on the phone and they call, yeah, do you know this person? And they say, yes, I mentored them. There was no question ever. There was no questioning your credentials. You worked with so-and-so who's one of the head people over at such and such company. I'm not going to question your legitimacy because that means you bust your ass to be able to become one of their mentors. These guys don't do that. They don't do none of that shit. They sit there and talk shit because they've had viral videos circling the drain of red pill content, trying to tell other men what it's like to be men. But let's be honest, we've at least had a few of them up there who have already been in a situation where other people looked at them in a non too favorable light. That's it.
I grew up hustling. There's be rims on my goddamn Phantom. Go out front. That ain't normal Phantom. That's a Mansory Phantom. I don't have the normal shit. F that. Chick's got upgrades. Done.
Well said, Wes. God damn, with the fire.
Honestly, he sounds like someone who pays for his he pays for his chicks to get, he pays for his woman to get breast implants. He'd be the type of person that be working in the porn industry. Like, yeah, you see them tits? I paid for that. Like, your chick is about to get plowed by somebody else. What do you mean you paid for that? I wouldn't be so proud of that.
God damn, with the bullshit.
Yeah, honestly, and then he had this bullshit that I just saw right now. So hold on. He did this response because apparently he was getting clowned on the internet because despite the fact that they were up there in a big group of men doing manosphere or whatever the fuck else that they're doing, he then started picking fights. He started picking fights with the other men who were up there on the platform, and it made no sense. So, and you can tell he dick rides for the wrong shit because there was one man up there, I don't know their name, but he's like, I got a family, I got kids. I do this stuff, I'm broke because I take care of a whole family. This same motherfucker was sitting there talking about, well, how much you make? How much you make? I just gotta know. I just gotta know. What were you gonna do? You wanna suck his dick? If he didn't tell you, like, the fuck? I just gotta know. I gotta know. You must be rich. Because in his mind was that every man that was sitting up there on the platform with him has to have been at the top level of their game in order to be up there. And the truth of the matter is that he's not at the top level of his game. You have guys like that who pretend like they are basically Elon Musk. They're not. Not even close. They're up there pretending like they're Mark Cuban. They're not. Not even close. Again, Bill Gates, not even close. But they pretend as if somehow they are on the top echelon level. You're not. The top echelon level is already out there. And let's be honest, who remembers, let me just say this, who remembers Bill Gates being out there flaunting and talking shit about him being alpha, getting in the gym, having a shit ton of money, having the flyest bitch, and a phantom. Never. What about Elon Musk? I mean, he got his own Tesla company. You ever heard Elon talking about, I got the flyest Tesla ever. I got the one of a kind because I own my fucking company. I got the flyest Tesla ever. In the gym, my bitch is bad. Ever heard that from Elon Musk? No, I didn't think so either. What about Mark Cuban? Mark Cuban has a lot of money. You ever heard him talk about, I got the baddest fucking Ferrari? No, never. So why do we think that this is the way how men should move? Because it seems like the men who are really powerful move in silence. They talk about what they do. They talk about what they want to do. They never talk about what they're doing, like in their personal life. This is what SpaceX is doing. This is how we want to move in SpaceX. This is the direction we want to go in SpaceX. Not this is what SpaceX is doing for me. Never heard that. I've never heard Elon Musk say what Twitter is doing for him. But I have heard what he's done for Twitter and what he's done for his employees for Twitter. I've even heard him say he even thinks about the perception of his employees on Twitter, which is why he will work his ass off and even sleep on the floor at Twitter so that his employees will see that he is outworking them as the CEO, and it makes them want to work harder. You want to call that leadership? I think it's called leadership. He's got a shit ton of money. He already had SpaceX, he already had Tesla. And here he is still putting out the extra work at Twitter. Sorry, X, you want to call it now. I'm never going to get used to that. But if you don't call someone who understands leadership, then who does? But I want to believe that because you sit on the stage and talk a whole bunch of shit on a camera and you have things that don't really matter. Because let's be honest, you got a Phantom. Cool. Guess what? People talked about Hellcats. I don't give a shit about that either. All these things go away. I remember before a Phantom and before a fucking Hellcat that I remember a time where it just said that if you had a particular type of Mercedes, you will fly. Now, they turn around and say, oh, if you had a Ferrari, you will fly. Ferraris are a dime a dozen. Oh, I remember before the Ferrari, they say if you had a Viper, you will fly. No one talks about a fucking Viper anymore. Nobody does. All those things that you talk about are depreciating assets. So why should men follow you and believe that you are the pinnacle of manliness if everything around you is a depreciating asset? I'm even going to say this and it's going to sound mean. Even your wife. You're both getting older. I don't understand these guys. And then after sitting there and having arguments, threatening to slap, to hit, to whatever, to the other men on the panel, because the other men these are all alpha men. By the way, this is the point I was kind of trying to make earlier, Mayo. They're all out there being alpha men, but they're all equally alpha. But yet, when this man was getting out there crazy, bombastic, whatever, all those other men that outnumbered him, they did not try to shut him down. It was only when Myron was trying to talk and he couldn't get his words out because this man kept talking. He was all right, chill. But there was no, get the fuck off the stage if you can't get in the program with this, because guess who was holding that event? It was Fresh and Fit. It wasn't his event. That means that they should have the ultimate call. They should be able to shut him the fuck down or get the fuck off the stage. But I thought they were all alpha men. So why are the people who are leading the event, who basically put the more money into the event, why weren't they the ones who took action and shut him the fuck down? Why didn't that happen? It's no personal gripe towards them. We're talking about being alpha. Because the guys that he was talking shit to, whatever, they were the most stoic. They were honest. He chastised one guy because he said he's broke, even though he's very popular on YouTube for debating, especially these freaking these OnlyFans models or feminists. And the other guy, he chastised him because he believes in taking care of his family, and he believes in God. He believes in putting God first. That motherfucker chastised the both of them because they followed God and they took care of their family. Because he promotes being an alpha dog at all times, good at all things. But he's a failure. He is a leveled meathead. That might be, but because a lot of men don't really understand what greatness is. Oh no, you go CCD. Don't even worry about that. But because men don't have an ideal, let me not say ideal, because men don't understand the real path of greatness. Because I'm saying there's parts of a path that I understand, but there's a lot of sacrifices I'm not willing to make. So I can say I'm not there. There are certain paths because not everybody's meant to go there. Because you can be on the path and you can die up that hill. Some people are just not willing to make that kind of sacrifice. And some people just get lucky. And a lot of people don't want to mention this. And I'm going to say this because it's very important to you guys. Not everybody can make it. Even if you have the blueprint, not everybody can make it. Sometimes you can only make it to the top areas, the top 1%, if you want to put it that way, only because you were born at a particular time with a particular family and have a particular advantage. That's just really what it is. Sometimes you were born because you got lucky, you met the right teacher, you were in the right school, you were in the right state. Maybe you got lucky and you won the lottery. Maybe you were really smart and you were really smart and you got a spelling bee contest or whatever that gave you a particular scholarship to go to a really good junior high school, whatever, and it just propelled your life forward. Maybe you took advantage and you were able to get into affirmative action, which actually got you into an Ivy League school. The truth of the matter is that luck plays a lot in success, and a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that. A lot of people don't want to say that. If you just work hard, you'll make it. I hate to say this, not everybody who works really hard makes it. Some people just work really hard and they break even. Let me say that again for you. Some people who work really, really hard, they're diligent. That's not to say that they're broke. That's not to say that they are struggling, but they work really, really hard and they break even. Maybe they're even a little bit above. As in they have no debt. They can buy whatever they want. Whatever. As I said, you break even when you have no debt. You can afford whatever you want. You're not worried about an unsuspecting bill coming. You're able to beat the rate of inflation. To me, that's wealth. Not the fact that you can buy a Learjet. Not the fact that you can buy a yacht that you'll rarely use. None of that. Not everybody who works really hard makes millions of dollars. I'm just going to be honest with you. Sometimes it just comes down to luck. Luck is to who you were born to, where you were born, when you were born. That's just really what it comes down to it. I guarantee you, you were more lucky to have been born to a upper middle class family. I didn't say rich. I didn't say wealthy. I didn't say. I said upper middle class family in a metropolitan area, and you were born gifted, and you were born a particular ethnicity, because there are some things that you don't have to worry about struggling for. I'm just going to be honest with you. That's just the way how our current systems work. They haven't always been like that. And at the same time, for certain people, they've always been that way. Sometimes it's just the luck of the draw, because time is a big indicator as to where you're going to land. Now, there might have been a time where you have been skyrocketed forward because you were a single, straight, white male born in a particular time with someone who's willing to invest everything with you. Versus now, if you're born as a single, straight, white male, it doesn't mean as much because you're at a time where men are being demonized. It's all about the times that you're in. That's just really what it is. So the idea that someone would say that they have basically locked down a path that is the gold standard as to what it means to be successful, or what it means to be a man, or what, it's out the window. Do I think there's particular things that you need to do, that you should do? Yes. Do you need to do them? No. Because let's be honest, some of the most prominent people that we have, who are our largest entrepreneurs, did not go to college. Some of my biggest innovators are not people who were really college bound. And it's something that we know, because we like to say, well, if you go to college, it changes everything for you. Not true. Because literally, you could be born to two hillbillies in the mountain and you can be a fucking savant. Genetics is weird. People just believe that if you were born to two smart people, you are smart. That's not the way it works. Genetics is a really random generator. It's RNG, it's a random number generator. You can have two average parents and be a genius, and you can have two smart parents, two genius parents, and you might have a mental disability. That's just it's the random lot of life. There's no guarantees, but people are always trying to set a gold standard on it. Like the fucking idiot that we just saw. Locksmith, thanks for showing up, man. That's just the truth. But I would say that wherever you fall in your lot in life, you do have a responsibility to make the most of where you are. And that's why I said before, life is a freaking marathon. You're not always put at the beginning or at the near the end of the race. Sometimes you're in the middle, sometimes you're a little bit behind, but you have to make sure that you catch up. There are people who are ahead of you in the race who fall behind, probably to you, or even fall behind you, because shit happens along the race. The same way how I've heard this a lot. There's nothing more satisfying than knowing that you didn't have money and you became rich. People who were rich and they gained money don't really appreciate it the same way. That's what I've always heard. The people who really appreciate where they are and live happier lives are people who didn't have anything and became wealthy. And I hope that some people have some semblance of that, some semblance of wealth, not necessarily money-wise, monetary gain, but they experience that sense of wealth. That's just the way how I look at it. But for those who are at that time, or whatever part that you live in right now, where you see yourself in a time where you're struggling, I do want you to know it's not just you. You're not the only one out there. There are plenty of people who are experiencing that same type of ish. But do yourself a favor and don't listen to people like this guy. Don't do it. Who even gets upset after talking to the freaking other people that was on the panel. And I'm gonna call them idiots because they threw themselves in that bandwagon to sit up there with people who, I'm gonna be honest with you, are not necessarily the most beneficial when it comes to other men getting up being more responsible and doing the things that are really important. Now he's upset.
Take my name out of all your pages, because guess what? Soon you are all going to just have to pay me for having my name in your shit. I'm just going to have my people come along, and you'll realize that you just get a letter, and I just get paid for every fucking video that was monetized with my name in it. You'll either have to take all the videos down or you'll have to pay me. And that's what you'll have to do. Thank you. Check here. Stupid. You guys are all rats. Anybody who talks about another man on their page or their channel or anything for views is a fucking rat. Do you get it?
So imagine that you get so upset to the point where you're now talking about that. Anybody who ever says anything about you, I don't want nobody talking about me. If I was really that dude, would I be sitting there making a video or even saying in public or whatever, I don't want nobody talking about me, because anyone who talks about me, they're a rat. I'm ashamed of them. No. In fact, I'm going to be the opposite. If I am that guy, I want everyone talking about me. For good, for bad, whatever, I want my name in everyone's mouth. I want my content to be so prominent that when you get up in the morning at 6 a.m. in the morning and you get ready to go to work, that you are on the toilet taking a shit, looking at my content and thinking, damn, that's motherfuckers doing fire shit. Why would I be at a point where I would tell, you need to just delete all my shit because I don't want you talking about me? I thought you was the man. I thought you was an alpha. I thought you was King Dingaling. I thought you was talking about you had big rims on your Phantoms. I thought you had your bitch is a 10. I thought you was good at it all. Now you want people to take your shit up, to take your shit off your page and no say shit about you. You know who you sound like to me? You sound like an episode of Wilding Out when I saw Fat Joe on it. He says, anybody talk shit about me, I'ma smack flames out you. And Nick Cannon had to be like, all right, cool. So nobody can talk shit about Joe. I thought you was the big rapper. Which means if you had a whole bunch of nobody or less talented people up there, they should be willing to go battle somebody who considers themselves to be one of the greatest now, right? Why would you turn around and tell them that if anyone says shit about you, you're going to smack flames at them? And then Nick got to be like, all right, nobody could, everybody throwing disses and everything else, which was the whole premise of the show, that we can't do it because Joe don't want nobody talking about him. That's kind of whack. It's kind of weak to me. Yep. Keep my wife's name out your mouth. You shouldn't have been showing up to an event that you knew comics would be around. That's to you, Will Smith. And not for nothing, you need to keep taking L's for a while. You need to keep catching those elbows. You need to keep getting those elbows. You don't deserve anything more. I think people who severely fucked up should just disappear for a while. Just walk away. Stay off of social media. Come back and do something, I don't know, on the opposite. Try a new grift or whatever, but your shit is not working at all. Anyone who claims to do something out of the guise of other people and they don't do a good job, you just walk away. Or you apologize, which, let's just be honest, most people who get to a particular stage in life don't believe that they should apologize, even though they are fully in wrong. Fully in wrong. And we have to deal with people like this on a regular basis. And okay, so I have one more video. It's the last video I'm gonna put up, and it was something that got me not mad or anything, but it kind of falls on lines to everything I've been talking about masculinity being under attack, and then even to the point where you have stupid people who are willing to have things invested in them, that they're willing to say anything and everything, and they don't even understand that they're hurting themselves. And God forbid if they have children, if they have sons, they're hurting their sons in the long run. And this one actually comes from, of all places, Fox. We shouldn't be surprised, but the guys are fucking idiots for doing it.
Joe, you follow trends.
Yes,
You followed all the trends that are going on. You know what's hot and what's not. What in the world and what's going on with masculinity? Why is it out the window now?
You want to hear one trend that is utterly horrifying? There was last year a 35% jump in men wanting consultants, being consulted on vasectomies. Like, don't even want to have kids, right? They don't want to take on the responsibility.
How
like
do
a
you
real
know
man.
that?
Okay, so who thinks that we're out, that any men are out here, that we men are out here talking about we out here trying to have a kid, but we just don't want to take any responsibility, versus the fact that you would figure as 4 news anchors who would be sitting up there, right, that they would have done their due diligence in making sure that they had all the proper numbers to make sure that what the things that were being said were actually true. Most men are not able to actually be able to be in a position to take care of their kids because, quite frankly, they don't get custody and all the other shit that flies out afterwards. But he's also going to talk about the some of the other things that are going on, and that is the soft guy era, which is mainly just memes right now. Mainly just memes right now, but they want to start talking about shit like that too. But then, of course, you know they're about to go overboard. They're about to go overboard, of course.
I'm looking at it right here. All right. It's a thing now, apparently. Look, I'm a former relationship columnist. I swear. When I was single in my days in Hoboken, I wrote about these things. And it just seems like men do not want to play the role of being elusive anymore or being hard to get. They text way too much. They're far too needy.
Question for you guys. Was it ever men's job to be hard to get? I mean, for fuckboys, sure. But when a man is actually looking to date someone, you know, someone he's taking serious or whatever, someone he really wants to ask out, was the premise ever to be hard to get? I'm letting you know that I'm interested in you. I knew women who play hard to get, but was it ever the man's job to play hard to get? It's a question. It's just a question.
They live far too long with their parents, particularly with mom. And that's a problem when you're a woman and you want a real man. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So I shudder to think what's going to be like for my daughter.
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
You should hear these TikTokers out there. Let's listen to one right now. He says that women should be paying for all the dates. Listen to this.
I don't care what anybody says, but a guy should always be paying for dates.
Never. Literally, being in my soft guy era, it literally opens my eyes to reality. Women want to be in long-term relationships, so this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to pay for all the dates.
You mentioned yesterday you have a...
And that's true. That's true. But I don't know men who are out there talking about, I'm playing hard to get. I don't remember a guy, for any men up here who have other guys they know who might be dating a chick. Have you ever heard that guy, you know, hey, you know, that chick, is she really into you now, man? And that guy says, you know what? Let's just say CCD come to me and say, you know what, Resla, that girl you dating around, yo, she's really into you. And I'm just like, you know, I think so, but I'm just playing hard to get right now. I think I'm just going to string along because she's going to like me more. You know, I don't think she's invested just yet. What guys say this? What guys are out there saying this? If they think they have somebody who's of quality standard, they out there saying that? Really? Well, who are these guys? Possibly. Now, keep in mind, they're watching people on TikTok. They can't tell these people are just being funny. They really gonna take this seriously. It's just crazy.
A very long and happy marriage.
Yes.
Would you be having that happy marriage if you had asked your wife to pay for the dates?
There's no way. My wife really jokes for me because we went on our first date and I brought a coupon when we got yogurt and she still thought that was pretty funny. So look, some of these guys, all they want is a mom. That's what they want. They want to be coddled and taken care of. who's the breadwinner? Perhaps it's the woman, perhaps it's the man, perhaps it's your spouse, whatever, however you want to be politically correct about this. You got to find the balance in your life. And it works for some people, doesn't work for other people. But this idea that you're just going to predetermine who's paying for what before you've even gone out, I don't.
Wait. Your first date, you had yogurt?
Yeah.
And you had a coupon for the yogurt?
Yes, he's frugal. That's why she marries him.
Who eats yogurt on a first date?
That's longevity there.
That
would have been a
Was it
tick in the pro
breakfast?
column.
What did you go out for?
This wasn't like.
You hear this guy? His own. This is the shit I'm talking about. This shit I'm talking about. Now you got this guy who's basically on the right chastising this man, because keep in mind, they're both married. Hey, this is how I got my girl. She thinks it's funny. She likes what I did. And this man over here is talking about, that's what you did? That's not some manly shit to do. How dare you do that to her? You mean you didn't give her a whole full course meal at a fucking big fucking restaurant? Who are you? What are we doing here? What? Here's my thing. Why are you policing him? Why are you policing how he got his woman? It worked. He's married. Guys, what are we doing? What are we doing? He's married. His wife is okay with it. They're good. Years later, you guys meet, you're working at the same place, and you're basically saying on live television, you're not a good man to the woman that you married. That's essentially what you're saying. That I think I am a better man for your woman than you are, even though I have my own woman. Sounds nasty, but that's what I heard. I'm a better man than you are, and you got married to your woman who loves and appreciates you. Was there any need for that whatsoever? And this is the whole thing, like, and we've seen it for those who have been on many other content panels or whatever, where you see men discuss shit or they get into arguments with each other, whatever. Because how many guys have things where they do things right? I'm working, I take care of my family, I make money, I got children or whatever. And, I met my wife, we were good. I used to be really good with women, and I just picked the one woman that I have, and then you have some other guy turn around and say, yeah, I got my bitch, and I'm really popular, and I get all the hoes, and I just be laying down the sauce, and then you be like, oh, and say you that guy who got married. I knew a guy, like that. I used to be a guy like that too. I used to lay down the sauce too. And then that one guy, because he said all this shit, even though you're married, and they turn around and say, oh, you was laying down the sauce? How could you be laying down the sauce? You've been married. You've been out the game for so long. I bet your bitch is not even nice looking. Show your bitch. Show your bitch. Don't you think it's weird when another guy asks you to show him your wife so that he can then validate you on how you decided to pick the person who is going to be the most prominent for your future? I think that's appalling. I think it's really disgusting that we as men, because I don't do this shit, by the way, because I notice it because I watch people a lot. But I see men who turn around and say, like, I think that I'm special, and I believe that you need to validate yourself to me. There are people out there who have faith, religion, faith. But then they'll turn around when you or other people who say anything that might be challenging to what they believe, and then they'll turn around and say, show me proof. You, man or woman of faith, you need proof now? Make it make sense. Exactly. CCD, she said, free yogurt. Not only was I able to get yogurt, but he didn't even have to come out of his pocket. He paid a coupon. He's good with money. We both won. I wonder what else he can do in the future like that. And yet you got this other guy talking about you paid what? You mean she fell for that shit? Let's be honest, there's a little bit of jealousy. There must be jealousy there. She fell for that shit? Huh? You mean you was able to get your woman with $1 menu? She fell for that shit? Do you not know how much money I had to kick out for my wife? And you was able to get yours with a free ice cream and probably $1 menu? Seriously? I spent $60K on my engagement ring. You gonna tell me you got your wife with a ring pop? Huh? How the fuck are we still on this stage with each other? How the fuck are you sitting up here with us four? How dare you be in the same space as me because you was able to get your chick with a ring pop and I spend all this money on mine? That's basically what it sounds like to me. I know he didn't say any of that stuff, but that's how it comes off. How dare you not have to put all the effort that I put into because I think I'm the manliest of men? How dare you jump the line and get what I got at a discount? What's good, mama? That's basically what it sounds like. I wouldn't, and I really don't. But I see this all the time. Not for nothing. I even have to correct my guys. I have to correct my own guys I'm close with in the moment when they do it. I go, pause. And they're looking at me because they're thinking, I didn't say anything gay. I didn't say you did. But why are you policing my dick? Why are you policing the choices that I made when evidently it worked out? Why? If it worked for me and I have my results, which are positive, why are you trying to chastise me for that? When you're saying that you did double, if not triple the work, and you're breaking even, I don't get it. If I had to do very little and I'm working towards whatever, and I was able to save up, let's be honest, it's like this. And I'm going to ask this question to the guys before I even get into the girls. You know what? I'll ask you both, but you tell me which one makes most sense, guys and gals. Is it more important for you to spend double digits, because you're going to spend double digits, to 6 figures on your wedding, or to spend that on your honeymoon and a long vacation? Which one makes sense? Which one makes more sense? Come on. And I want the first thing out of your mind. Don't just start sitting there settling and start being rational. I want the first thing out of your fucking mind. Because I meet a lot of women who will turn around and say, I'll spend all that shit on my wedding day because my friends and my family and that stink bitch, Keisha, who I hate, gets to sit there, and I put that bitch in the second row so that she can see that I was up there doing my thing, and make sure that she don't even get the steak for dinner, that she gets the fucking fish. Because I want to prove to her and all these other heifers that I got being one. And I'm going to spend 60, 70, 110K for it. For the one day and a reception, both on the same day, by the way, and be in debt. That's ultimate petty. I would rather spend the money, and it damn for sure would not be 6 figures. It probably wouldn't even be 2 figures, to be honest with you, on a nice vacation. That extra money that we have, not only will we not be in debt, but we could take care of so much other shit. Because people who are spending that kind of money most likely don't have that kind of money, for one, but they're not actually planning for the future. They're not. Listen, thank you. That's a long and more conversation, because you know why? I'm hearing you, and you know what I'm not hearing? I'm not hearing the clacking, the clittering and clacking of fucking utensils upside the plate. In fact, not for nothing, if I'm on my first date with you and you get a yogurt, which one do you think is going to keep me more appealing? You sitting there chomping on a steak or lobster or whatever, or me sitting there watching you lick that ice cream? Which one you think sounds more appealing? I'm just saying. Oh, cookie and cream is your favorite? Got you. I got you. Way cheaper, more conversation, less clicker and clacker, not people all surrounding us making a shit ton of noise because I can't hear. And here's the worst part about that. Because I know it's a crab shack, there's a possibility that kids are around. People are laughing like fucking idiots, drowning out the fucking time that I'm supposed to be sitting there and fucking listening to you. Because I can't hear you. I can't hear you after all the interference is happening around. But you and I could be walking into a park, sitting down, watching people, having a conversation, really getting to know one another. Really getting to know one another. I'm just saying. And maybe it's me because I'm a little bit on that old school thing, but to me, dates were not just going to dinner. It was like a half a day kind of thing. It's like, hey, you want to meet up? We'll eat lunch. Then we're going to do something exciting. Then after we do something exciting, depending on how we both feel, we may give a quick bite. Never dinner. Maybe just get a quick bite. Let you be on your way so you can have the rest of your day, because I'm always about giving people back their time. But I want to spend some time with you, so I need to know that you can get a drink with me, alcoholic or not. I want to know you can snack with me, which is cool. And I want to have something, at least some kind of physical activity, so that basically I can see if you have a particular upkeep. If you can be fun. If you're telling me, I can't move, I can't walk, it's so fucking tough, you're that out of shape, I can't really use you, to be honest. I can't walk 4 city blocks. I'm too tired. My heart. Your heart? You're that out of shape? Damn. I'm just saying. Mini golf is always my first dates. Except for my girlfriend now, mini golf was always my first date. The reason why I always mini golf is my first date is that regardless of what girl I was with, and you'd be like, you remember our first date? I'd be like, it was mini golf, right? She's like, oh, he remembers. It was mini golf. Yes, it was mini golf. So I take him all on mini golf. I'm just saying. But now that you know that, I can never take you on a date for mini golf. Or maybe so, because you like mini golf. All right. So maybe. I never do picnics. I never do it. Most women I meet now, they can't cook. Never mind make a fucking sandwich these days. If we went on a fucking picnic in the goddamn picnic basket, it'd be all store-bought shit. It'd be no good. But this guy, literally, even on a news anchorship, will turn around and say, I got basically chastised. For what? And nobody else is going to call that out. It's crazy.
This
Dessert
wasn't like
yogurt. Like it's a dessert.
you don't get yogurt for dessert.
Hold on, listen.
You have it in the morning.
You don't get yogurt for dessert? don't they sell ice cream at restaurants for desserts? Ice creams or some sort of sherbet or whatever. What is he? What's
Enough men. Enough men. We're done with the men. The man talk. We're done with the man talk.
All right, I'm just saying.
As a woman, when you go on a date, when you're dating someone, of course you pick up the check every now and then and you chip in here and there. You've got young sons.
It's called chivalry, okay? I don't know what this soft guy, I thought it was soft bod. I thought that's what we were talking about. Dad bod. Like, gross. No, but here's the thing. So I work full time. We all know that. The thing about being financially independent as a woman in a marriage, it's a beautiful thing. I don't need my husband financially. My husband doesn't need me financially. We are together because we want to be together, and we work on our marriage because we actually just want to be together and raise our children together. That's a beautiful thing. But when we're dating, should he absolutely be paying for our dates? Yes, that's chivalry. He should also keep me on the inside when we're walking on a sidewalk. He should be opening the door for me. And by the way, my husband does that. And my 3 children, boys, do that as well. So no one in the Sapphire House.
But a revolving door, the man always goes first. It's true, because you gotta push the weight. And in a cab,
that's a bullshit. I can tell you right now, when we go through a revolving door, the first one who goes through is my chick, because I'm the one who's pushing behind her. I'm the one who's pushing the thing behind her. So no, I don't always go first. And again, people who turn around and try to say what the rules are for men, that's a problem. That is a huge problem. No, because I cannot listen to Russell Brand's voice. I don't know why he always sounds high to me. I can't do it. And I know people try to say like they think that he's a fucking genius, but he doesn't. He sounds like an old stoner to me. Still caught in the hippie age. Oh, I'm sure they do act ridiculous. It's just hard for me to stand his voice for very long periods. It's just I couldn't do it. I don't know why people are infatuated with Russell Brand. Not to say that you are, but I don't know why people are with him. And I'm just like, after like 2 minutes, I'm zoning out. I realize I'm playing a game on my phone or something. Like I really can't stand him for long. Oh, listen, it might have been that way. It might have been. I mean, I just finished saying I zoned him out myself, so I probably would think that he wasn't there as well. But it's bad if they having him on as like the actual person being interviewed or a guest or whatever, and then they treat him like that. Yeah, but I for sure haven't seen it. Also because I don't really watch NBC like that. I really don't. Guys, we're gonna call it quits here. We're gonna call it quits. We already just hit that 3-hour mark. I've been hitting 3-hour marks of late. It seems to be a new thing. I might have to reevaluate some things. But so far, kind of enjoying things. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed a bit of the stream. And I will try to figure out some other things going on. Let me just do my quick outing for everyone, which of course, if you feel inclined to do so, you can always be able to hit me up on Cash App, which of course is $$ Resla Opinionated. And of course, for those who prefer a PayPal kind of thing, it's of course at Resla2 for those who might be interested. For the most part, I always say that you never really have to give, but I always say I appreciate it because everything does go back to the channel itself. Believe me, I hold things up to make sure that I can get better equipment, all the stuff like that. So I'm always just saving up. So it never really goes to anything else. Outside of that, I'm always taking care of my own things. With that being said as well, for those who might be the only, there are very few people who actually do reach out to me on social media. But for those who haven't noticed yet, I have also been doing things when it comes to my Twitter account. So you already know that. You guys have already been able to know what I do on a regular basis because you mainly see me here when I'm on social media. In terms of YouTube, I have been updating and doing a couple of things when it comes to my Instagram, which is also at Resla Opinionated. And of course, I do have my email address, which you can always be able to catch me. It's on wrestleropinionated@gmail.com. Once again, wrestleropinionated@gmail.com. If somehow that is a lot for you to write out, you can check out my bio or I'm right in my homepage. I do have my email there as well. And hopefully this is everything that we have for today, and I do hope that we have more in the future. I don't know why social media just seemed a little dead for my feeds this week. I was a little busy myself, but I do appreciate everybody who did show up here. I do love the fact that when you guys actually show up, and hopefully we bring more people in the future. Be sure to check out my shorts. I have been working on a couple of things. Some of them seem a little controversial. I will be working on some things for new, not only new episode things, but also a couple of shorts that I'll be working on for the future. And I also wrote something on my community page, so be sure to check that out. I want to do something for next June, which is on Saturday, which is kind of like a BYOC. So I want you to kind of think about what the things that you're looking for in terms of content. And it's BYOC is bring your own content. I want you guys, if you have anything that you want to particularly talk about, or things that may be interesting you that I never heard about, then you could be able to either email that to me on wrestleropinionated@gmail.com, or if we have enough time or whatever, then we will do that here on the actual stream. With that being said, love you guys. Thank you for showing up as always, and I will see you on the next. Take care of you.